Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm gonna do an old style YouTube kind of update video here because I may go missing for a while when it comes to video output and I don't want to just not say anything or go dark completely. I think it's a good idea to do one of these periodically anyways and let people know what I have planned in terms of future content and what to expect. Normally, I'd want to do this towards the end of the year to give everyone something to look forward to, but I got to do it now because the next 2 months or so will be quite busy for me. One of the things I've been meaning to talk about is what type of stuff I want to make moving forward, because to be perfectly honest with you, I don't know. Because a lot of life stuff has been happening, both good and bad, I didn't want to do what I call a Riley Wood project, which I anticipated in 2025, by the way. These are like films or stories or things that I write from my own creation. Typically, they are my attempt at releasing some form of my own art, my own creation, I guess you could say. My full creative focus this year was on YouTube, for the most part, just to finally give it a real swing, because I feel like I have done that, but not over the course of a full year, and I'm really proud of myself for the work I did over the last 365 days. By the time this is uploaded, I should have well over 20 videos totaling around 4 hours of content total just in this year alone. So many random people clicked on my videos and decided to hit subscribe because of them, which shows they have faith that I'll keep making videos they like. So I don't want to stop making them just to solely focus on what I would deem to be more personal projects, more passion projects, because this has been such a gratifying year on the internet. And truth be told, YouTube itself is a passion project. I don't want to skew that. All I've ever dreamed about as a kid was being a YouTuber, and this was way before it was cool, by the way. I was watching KYR Speedy and Captain Sparkles and Red Letter Media and Woody's Gamertag and Freddie W and White Boy 7th Street and Ryan Higa and Ant Venom and Dodger Films and FPS Russia and Seth Bling and Ray William Johnson and YMS and Donkey and Fantano and the Versus channel and fucking Machinimas. And I was just amazed that these guys were getting the views they were and genuinely making careers out of their work. I was envious of that, and oftentimes would pretend while I was playing video games like hundreds of people were watching when I was like 10 or 11. You know, these guys that I all just mentioned, these channels, they were all just being themselves and entertaining people and doing it all on their own too. Like, they didn't have some corporation or company breathing down their neck telling them what to make. They were making what they felt like was good and authentic to them. And yeah, I mean, it was just them and their communities. I found it really beautiful. Quite frankly, I wanted to be them so badly. I still want to be them, to be honest. That desire has not faded from me really in the slightest. But I also had dreams of being, and this is really, really early on, like in my childhood, like I had dreams of being a famous movie maker or video game designer or writer, or, you know, somebody who made the big blockbuster things, which isn't necessarily true anymore. Like, I don't have a desire to become some mega superstar, highest grossing person. That actually sounds kind of awful, but I still do hope to achieve being an extremely multifaceted individual. I think that's why I was so into Kanye West in my high school days, because it was so amazing to me that he could make groundbreaking music and then just suddenly switch codes and become an incredible fashion designer. Or I was also super into Donald Glover. This guy could go out and do a hilarious comedy set and then perform his banger album at a concert and then go act in a movie or TV show. Like, these are guys that I was really, really into in high school and college, and for good reason, because I also wanted to be a multi-talented Swiss Army knife person, because I might be the definition of jack of all trades as master of none. I've always felt like I've been good at a lot of things, but not great at one. And that's taken some time to come to terms with, but I still think that I can become great at one thing if I just keep refining that craft and sharpening those tools, but I'm just not sure what it is yet. That's really most of life, right? Like just figuring things out. And here I am kind of now questioning, do I want to make more accessible traditional YouTube content? Do I want to get a bit weird and experimental and make my own stuff still? It's funny that this is where I'm at because, like I was saying, this is what I wanted, right? Like I wanted to be in a position where it was hard to decide where to go next or what to do with my attention next. But just like I would do as a child, I was just acting on instinct. I was just acting on whatever I felt like doing at that time. There's that Sontag quote that has become a running theme on this channel, which I'm really happy about continuing to push, by the way, about inventing trophies of experience. And I feel like over the course of the last maybe 2-3 years, I've been doing that in a lot of different ways. You could argue that this year's collection of videos from me is that, but maybe not in like a life sort of sense. Like I'm inventing a trophy of experience by making like a movie review about something and talking about it for 7 minutes. Like it's validating to somebody that I went to go see a movie and had that conversation with it and just put it out in the void somewhere. And my experience with the movie is now documented and it's a trophy of that, I guess you could say, but it's not nearly as impactful or self-gratifying as making like a full-fledged passion project where it 100% feels like me and it's personal and it's purposeful and I feel like I'm doing something that's pushing the envelope and trying to break ground. I might not be doing so successfully, but I'm trying. And, you know, me making my own version of movie reviews, you know, even the Lighthouse review, which I'm very proud of, it was a direct inspiration from somebody who already broke that ground. It's not me doing anything different. The only thing that you could say about it is me is what I choose to put in there and what my own feelings that I'm sharing are about it. As opposed to me making my own film, it feels more like something that is 100% authentic and a reflection of myself and my feelings and my observations and my experience in the world, where I'm kind of just delving into what life is like at that time or what life was like, and there's so much more put into it. But with that also, I think the further you go underneath the surface, the less people care. I realize that those types of videos are not as accessible, and that type of content will probably get the least views, but I don't know. I'm also trying to maintain this pipe dream of making things being my full-time job, which is another conversation entirely, but that's something I've always wondered, where if being creative is my full-time job, is it going to start to feel like a job? Being creative is my, as corny as it sounds, it's my like escape, like it's my hobby, it's my thing that helps me reassociate with the world and center myself and be present and check in with how I'm feeling. I worry too that if I were to become extremely successful at this, would I lose the passion for it? I looked up to the YouTuber Jay Schlatt for a while because he seems to be in the same boat with a similar upbringing and a similar aspiration, but now it kind of seems like he hates making things. I don't see him around nearly as much, and I think that's kind of because being creative turned into a job for him. And as much as my 9-to-5 bums me out sometimes, it does give me real world experience to draw upon to motivate me to making things. And that's why even if my absolute dream comes true of being able to do YouTube videos full time, because I know I could and I know I wouldn't get tired of it and I know I'd love it, I'd still have those personal passion projects to turn to pour my soul into. So yeah, that's why I feel like I can't stop the habit of making those. I know I'm not anywhere near that point yet, but I feel like they'd just be good to have up my sleeve, like in the back of my mind, even if videos start to feel mind-numbing after a while, I still will have an emotional investment in a venture that's completely different and maybe picks a completely different part of my brain and fulfills a completely different part of my goals. I don't even know if I want to be in the industry, quote unquote. Like, my idea of true freedom and true liberation is being able to fully self-sustain and make things on my own accord. So I think I'm just at a crossroads emotionally with where I want to shift my creative efforts toward fully talking about topics I care about, like music and movies or fucking showers for that matter, has been such a joy this last year. But I also have this urge in me to make art that's got a direct line to me and is something significant that I can call my own. You know, my last two things, Tales from the Exit Door and For Cloudier Days, my last two Riley Wood projects, I guess you could call them, while they're not maybe the most seen by random passersby, they mean the most to me in a way that maybe movie reviews or even the music recaps don't. And those music recaps have gotten very personal. If you've watched the last couple of those, like, I don't know, things get pretty personal with me because I treat them as not just a way to talk about albums I love, but then I go into why I love them, and then that kind of bleeds into what was going on with me in my personal life then, and, you know, they're kind of one and the same there. The plan originally was to do a visual novella building on my two short story collections, Tales from the Exit Door and For Cloudier Days. Again, check those out if you haven't. And I put a lot of heart into those, and I feel like I made something meaningful and genuine and honest, which is the goal of anybody who makes things, right? Like, I feel like the stuff that doesn't go over well with people is the stuff that's disingenuous. So I may have to shift my focus on making that happen. My, I guess you could say, career, if you even want to call it that, like my pursuit of a career as a writer was not exactly traditional, but I always dreamed about being a published author, and in 2020 I did it. I released a collection of short stories, and that was very satisfying, but I also feel like I have some sort of obligation to me to write a novel, or at least a novella, and I don't know if that hunger within me will ever really fully subside until I've done it. And I like the format that I've been doing or delivering my stories that I'm writing, because print is so hard and accessible now, and I know that not every generation wants to read books or pick up like a paper copy. Like, they need some sort of visual stimulation, or they like things being read to them. I've talked about this before in my 2024 music recap video, where I kind of go over why I was even doing YouTube videos now in the first place, or going back to doing YouTube videos, because I've had a lot of different channels and I've had a lot of different efforts at making different types of content, and I've really dipped my toes in just about every pool you can imagine when it comes to creating YouTube content. So the plan, I guess for now, is to do both, sort of. I don't want to stop making videos. I want to work slowly in the background on that visual novel, at least for 2026, while I continue posting somewhat normally on here. I don't know. I do not know. I really do not. Any input would be appreciated. I can't imagine this video will get a ton of views because it's not on a specific topic. It's very vague, but I have to put it out there. The motto that I've been telling myself for a long time now has been, treat it like everybody is already watching. I know that there's a chance that nobody's watching, but I have to act like I have an entire dedicated fan base who is really into my stuff, because if I don't keep an audience in mind, then I think my stuff is going to suck. You know, you got to play the part or perform the role that you want. And I really want that. Will I focus on more original, organic, homegrown content, or should I do more spreadable and easily approachable videos? Should I do a happy medium? I don't know. That's for the fan to decide.
Yay!
No, but in a classic Riley fashion, I'm going to try and possibly fail at both. But yeah, I feel like that's how most now full-time review-based YouTubers began. Maybe that path in terms of doing what you want isn't following the right order, though. Maybe that's just not how it is. Maybe it's not to fail at garnering big audiences for individual art, then making content. Maybe it's making content and then slowly transitioning or parlaying that into loftier ambitions in the industry. Because as somebody who tried to get into the industry without any notoriety, it was a lot of soul selling and it was very demeaning and it was just not really a life I want to be a part of. It's like those actor people who are just constantly 24/7 in Hollywood, just networking all the time, like just whoring themselves out. Like it's very, you have to have basically no self-respect. And I'm not saying I have any, I really don't. You need to have a little bit of delusion, I would say. And that's important. It's probably a lot of the way I get through my life. I wouldn't even be able to put this video out if I didn't believe that a bunch of people were going to watch it, right? You know? It's kind of just like throwing your hat in the ring and playing some kind of weird lotto, because you see it all the time where like extremely talented people don't get noticed, or at least not for a long time, or extremely untalented people get overnight fame and are now just kind of permanent celebrities. Like, I'm not going to, and it's not like really for me to decide who is what, but it is a crapshoot. It totally is. And we all know that there are extremely vanilla catering, absolutely almost brain rot YouTube content out there that's getting millions of views. So honestly, who gives a fuck? Like, who really cares? I'm just going to do what feels right to me at the time. That's taken me this far. The plan of juggling both content and personal creations may collapse at some point, fairly close to the half point of next year, because if I'm not feeling it, I'm not feeling it. And I need to trust that. I've spent a lot of my time in the past, specifically in like the early 2020s, trying to force things, and I just need to make what feels natural to me, because if it's not easy, then it's not going to be fun, and if it's not fun, then it's not going to be fun for the audience. But we have seen YouTubers successfully build an audience first and then transition to, I guess you could say, more socially acceptable entertainment careers. Fucking Filthy Frank was making dumb pink eye videos. I still can't believe this. He somehow used that to become a full-fledged musician with like a totally separate fan base now. It's so strange. Chris Stuckman, he's making movies now. You saw H3 and his wife make a really successful clothing line. Bo Burnham, somebody I've mentioned on this channel as a creative icon, came up through YouTube and Vine, and now he's a full-time, very celebrated comedian and filmmaker. So maybe that just is the way. Am I crazy though for being too like ready to do both now though? I don't know. It's hard for me not to still want to make passion projects. The idea of putting this much on my plate is daunting because we could be moving in 2026. It could be even more jam-packed with life events that require immediate care, similar to 2025. So now is not exactly a good time for me to stake my claim and be like, I'm making even more shit next year, because it could get crazier. And as I've transitioned into adulthood, I'm 27 now, it doesn't slow down. I mean, more responsibility is continuing to happen, and that was something I knew would be the case. But I also feel like maybe that's the best time to do this. Not necessarily logistically, but maybe emotionally. Maybe I'm like in a mature enough place now to where I can make content consistently. Either way, I am putting this out there in the universe now. You know those plaques creators who reach certain sub milestones get? If I could somehow get just the base 100,000 sub plaque from YouTube, do you know how happy I'd be? I think that would complete my life mission. Like if little me knew that I would one day be holding a 100,000 subscriber trophy directly from YouTube headquarters, he would cry. He would fucking cry. I'm gonna do it. I declare right now that I will not stop making videos until I get a plaque sent from YouTube commemorating my efforts. I've been doing this shit since I was a kid. This is a fucking call to action. I was making Lego reviews at 12 years old. If you are somehow watching this video, specifically this one, and not subscribed, and be shocked if you are, please do. Help me get the fucking plaque. I want the plaque. Hashtag get Riley the plaque. I am not going to stop until I'm holding it, and you can even unsub once I am. All I want is the plaque. I'm going to start being really annoying in my videos from now on. You know, some of those YouTubers are like, oh, 80% of people who watch my videos aren't subscribed. No, my version of that is going to be, hey, help me get the plaque. Like, I'm going to be doing stupid little segues. Please excuse my plugging in future content, but starting next year, I will be putting that reminder in some way, shape, or form, sometimes blatantly, sometimes subliminally, in every video that I upload until this goal is complete. It's plaque time. I'm plaquing over here. We go to the dentist. They're going to tell me I got a ton of plaque. Subscribe now so I can get my plaque. New Year's resolution starting next year. I'm going to put that in all my videos until I get my plaque. I don't care how long it takes or how many periods of quietness there may be. I'm going to get my plaque. That being said, this is a great way to segue into this. I will be absent, but not gone, for just a bit, just a little while. The show must go on, and that goes for both fronts, internet life and real life. First and foremost, a select few are probably already aware of this, but I'm getting married next month. Yay, finally. We've been very good at wedding planning and have had most big things spaced out for a while now, so we don't get stressed out. But as we get down to the wire here, it's required more and more of my attention, which is naturally understandable. We're doing a lot of this stuff ourselves, which will hopefully make it a better wedding for those attending, but that's also sapped most of my creative energy for the time being. I'm not able to work on a lot of long-form content like I usually do. October especially, I've been sitting down at my desk to do more designing and curating for the wedding as opposed to this channel, but obviously that will not be the case once November is over. November is when the wedding is. We are, however, going on our honeymoon right after, so that's like another week or two where I'm going to be away and not working on anything at all. And then when we get back from the honeymoon, it's basically going to be like right smack dab in the middle of the holidays. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, you know, so I can imagine those will lead into even more time consumption, going to family things. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe we'll just keep to ourselves this holiday season. We've already seen everybody prior to this. So I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just going to start pumping out stuff. For Halloween specifically, I don't want to miss out. Me and my fiance watch a classic Halloween movie, like a classic horror movie that we've never seen before. And there's still a lot on my list, and I do want to make a review for one of them. Whatever we decide to watch, we haven't decided yet. Like, I haven't seen the original Halloween movies. I haven't seen Nightmare on Elm Street. There's a lot of classic horror movies that I have yet to see. So I definitely want to take that opportunity to make a video about a classic. But also in October, I've been extremely sidetracked by playoff baseball and the NFL restarting. That's right, I am unfortunately a mutant offspring who enjoys sports and art. Both of my teams were/are doing pretty well for the first time in a long time, so I gotta try to soak this in while I have it, so don't hate me. Anyways, yeah, the final 3 months of the year, we're here. This is normally the time I write my music recap up. I had originally planned to do all of the years I didn't do a video for over the last 12 months, and I got all of them done, but I didn't have a chance to finish 2023. Oops, very much in progress. Don't worry. Not that any of you were. If I really was hustling and didn't have the wedding stuff, I could totally get it out in November and then jump right into finishing 2025 so I could have that out in late December or early January. But yeah, I don't know at this point. It might be a good idea to wait a while longer for the 2023 list anyways, considering it's still basically unchanged from when I first posted it on my blog. I want to take time to search for new additions if possible. I've had a chance to listen to some stuff, not all stuff. Okay, movie reviews. I made a pledge to do a video review on every single film that I watched this year. That remains true with the exception of my Pixar movie marathon that I've been on. I have decided to push that back, obviously, but I still will be doing it both to adhere to my promise about reviewing every movie I see and have something lighter than my ongoing Lighthouse analysis. Those two will be probably alternating and platooning when it comes to any lengthy movie review content in 2026. You'll probably see The Lighthouse Part 2 in 2026. You're probably going to see Pixar review Part 1 in 2026 as well. Any movies that I watch in 2026 and beyond will not follow my rule anymore unless it's either A, an old movie that I just really want to talk about, or B, something that came out just recently that I think people should see/stay away from. So basically, my posting a review about every movie I see rule will only apply to stuff I see in theaters after this year is over. I'm nervous because this time of year is usually when the biggest releases come out and like all of the award heavy nominated movies are releasing, and I'm obviously very busy. So you may see both shorter reviews than usual and only movie reviews in November through January. Don't fret, I'm not becoming a full-time movie review channel. You're just gonna see the stuff that's easiest for me to make over the course of the next couple months. Making too many movie reviews at once, though, does burn me out. Like, if I'm doing 3 or 4 in a row, I gotta break it up with something. For that reason, a shitpost kind of video may not be out of the realm of possibility, especially during this last quarter of the year. I might need to just fuck around and bullshit about something. These are what I feel are good palate cleansers for both me and my viewers. By the way, if you're wondering what I consider shitpost videos are, it's stuff like the showers video or the cereal one. 2 of my absolute favorite things I've dropped on here, by the way. If you haven't seen those, go check those out. But yeah, I've got another something like that in the works. I'm just not sure when you'll get to see it. Maybe soon, if I get tired of the movie quickie style reviews. I'm not probably going to stop with those because it's like I get to talk to someone about the movie and join a conversation about them, which is like one of my favorite activities, but also they're just fun to pump out. I'm also not going to quit making movie content until I get on Sardonicast. That's the other goal. YouTube sub plaque and Riley Sardonicast appearance. I want to talk to my childhood heroes. I want to do it so bad. Please help me make this happen. You've seen my movie reviews. Come on. I can make some decent arguments. I can hold my own in those conversations. Sometimes they're dry anyway. I can get in there. I'll fight with somebody. You want me to fight with somebody? I'll get in there and I'll be like, no, you're fucking stupid. That's not what I thought at all. I'll even do it with YMS. As much as I look up to him, I'll do it with him. I'll be like, well, I mean, if you want to be a normie and talk about it like that, I mean, the real philosophers and thinkers are probably thinking this. I mean, I'm just saying. Just like, no, I would never do that. That's so disrespectful. But yeah, I think that's about it for the recap. It's ironic that I've spent my time making this video and not working on just regular scheduled programming. I think that this is good, though. I'm probably not going to be doing these types of videos often. Really, truly, this is just going to be here. So if someone's like, hey, where'd that one guy go? They can click on this video and find out. Again, I gotta pretend like I have 100,000 people already salivating over my every move. I gotta let my diehard fans know where I am because there's a very real possibility I could just truly go dark for the next few months. I'm not planning on doing that. I might just have to mortgage everything and just make videos when I have the time, once the time arises. But like I said, the quest for the fucking YouTube plaque, the 100K plaque, that's all I want. Just that silver 100K plaque. It ain't gonna stop. It's not gonna stop. We're not gonna give up on that. I really hope people watch the next personal project Riley Wood solo thing. I'm almost sure I have an idea to make it more approachable. I think a lot of the problem is people like to click on stuff they're familiar with, you know, like you see SpongeBob floating up to heaven with a box of Waffle Crisp and you're like, oh, hell yeah, I can get behind that. But then you're probably actually definitely going to look at this and go, what the hell is that? I'm not interested in that. I don't want anything to do with that. I've studied storytime YouTubers now. I have engineered a new format, possibly. So, I mean, we'll see how it goes when it's out. Here's a little release calendar thingy for my people who need a visual. This is what major stuff is on the horizon. Some of this could be earlier than we expect. It could also be later than we expect, but I'm just giving realistic anticipated drop times for all of these things that hopefully you can look forward to. Okay? Okay.